It's one of the hardest things to do, taking the car keys away from a loved one. Independence is just so important. But what do you do when you recognize that a loved one's safety and the safety of others may be in jeopardy? David Shell, the executive director of Breckenridge Village, has parked himself at our table to offer helpful advice. Thanks for joining us.
It's good to be here, Armin. Thank you.
So, David, this really is a very sensitive topic. How widespread is the driving problem?
Well, it really is. And the statistics say that in the state of Ohio, about 90% of the males over the age of 70 and 80% of the females over the age of 70 still have a driver's license. And it's not to say that chronological age has really anything to do with one's ability to drive. It more has a lot to do with the functionality of how they're managing. And that's the most important thing, looking at how a person with medications, change in chronic health conditions, those things affect a person's ability to drive.
What are the red flags we should be alert to?
Well, there's quite a few things. I mean, just really looking at the dents on the car, the condition of the car. If friends refuse to ride, getting lost certainly is a big issue. Slower response time, and if other drivers' reactions are really pretty negative, and certainly if there's tickets, and if there's multiple tickets, that's a real concern.
Well, it sounds like any one of those can be an important signal. How should we begin to gear up for that crucial conversation about taking away the keys?
Well, one of the things is that it's really not taking away the keys, but trying to help get the person to realize that really it's kind of a gift to be able to come to the realization that I should no longer be driving, and certainly put other people at risk. And if we can engage in that type of dialogue, be supportive, start to talk about some of those issues.
Should we actually get in the car with somebody before we have that conversation?
It's a wonderful thing to do. I'm fortunate that my mother, who is still driving, I go along for a ride and ride with her, and she says, you know, if you notice anything or you think that we need to start making some decisions, let's talk.
And so you get in the car, you see that there's a problem. Do you just pop the question, you know, isn't it time to take away the keys?
No,
or do you...
I think that there's a number of things that you can and should do, and that's starting to engage in the dialogue well before. We're very fortunate at Breckenridge Village. We've got a great transportation system, so those that are independent and then ultimately need to kind of move through the continuum, there's some support mechanisms. So talking about the alternative plans, family helping out, public transportation, all of the other support systems that are available, coming up with a plan, that's a great way to enter into the conversation.
So, you know, when you mentioned a place like Breckenridge where, you know, there's all the, you know, transportation provided, and you have a lot of stuff right there. You don't have to worry about it, but not everybody can be at Breckenridge. You know, there's other options. You know, you mentioned the public transit. You know, there's ways to get medications delivered. Yes. Those are the kinds of options you should be prepared to talk about.
Absolutely, and I think the family engaging in that plan, and as you mentioned, there are so many alternatives for individuals to start to get things delivered to them as opposed to going out.
Let's say you have the conversation and your parent says, I'm not giving up the keys. What then?
There's a couple of things that you can do and should do. One is that the Ohio Department of Transportation does do driving examinations, and to have a driving examination done. But probably the most important thing to do is engage dialogue with the doctor and with their physician, and ask the physician to start to assess, are there medical conditions that really kind of warrant not being able to drive, and then make a referral to a driving program. Occupational therapy programs will do training at hospitals and do assessments, and then it's someone else creating it, as opposed to the family, and that works best.
Thanks, David. The years can take a toll on our driving skills, but there are alternate routes. Even if you have to stop driving, you don't have to give up your independence. My thanks to David Shell for giving us a roadmap. If you'd like a free copy of David's booklet, Thoughts on Retirement, just call the number coming up next.
For more information, call Breckenridge Village at 440-942-4342 or log on to www.breckenridgeohio.org. Next, a history of helping friends to freedom.